Welcome back to the City of Caldwell podcast. Today, we have Maylee, I was going to say she's a part of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, but she's a part of a lot of other things as well. And I'll let her kind of explain more of that. But Maylee, thanks for taking some time to hang out with us
Yeah, of course.
in the mayor's office, his new digs for now. But can you just tell us who you are, how you got to where you are now, and maybe where you're going?
Yeah, so again, I'm Maylee, and I go to Caldwell High School right now. I'm a junior there. And like Brian said, I'm a part of a lot of different things in my community specifically. One of the main things is I'm a part of the 4-H Health Advocates. So with that, I go to DC each year, and I've created a health equity project that I've implemented in my high school where we've created sort of a snack distribution program for the athletes. And I think that that's really important, and it's kind of shaped who I am. It's kind of helped me realize that I have a voice in this community, and I've learned how to use it through that. And also through MIAC, being both a part of MIAC and on the exec council has really shown me that youth can have a really big part in their community, and specifically given the correct resources for that. And MIAC and the other things that I've been a part of have really helped with that. And then I think what kind of brought me here was my mom got more involved in the community when she took a job at the University of Idaho Extension office. And with that, I saw all the things that she was doing, and she was helping out in her community doing the senior produce program. And she's also what introduced me into 4-H. And so through her, I've been able to come to where I am now with specifically being a part of my community. And now I really want to just help my community more, and not just my community, but anywhere that I can. I think I've always had this drive to do something and make a difference, and so I think I want to continue that through my life. And so I want to become an environmental scientist, possibly, and try to help climate change or animals, deforestation. And I just really want to make a difference, and doing the things that I've done showed me that I have the resources to do that.
Okay, great. So tell us, are you from Caldwell originally? How long you've lived here? Tell us a little bit about your family. And then maybe just tell us, where you're looking. Maybe you haven't committed yet, but, maybe your top couple schools that you're trying to get into.
Yeah, okay. So I've lived in Caldwell my whole life, so 16 years. It's a long time, but I really love it here. And then I'm looking to go to, I really like Hawaii. I have family there, and I just like the community that I would be a part of if I went there.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty small, so I like being able to have a smaller community because I feel like both I can make a difference there, and then it's easier for people to make a difference on me as well. So I feel like I can learn a lot from that.
Is it just U of H, or is there other colleges? Do you have any, second or third choices?
Yeah, so I definitely need to look more into that.
Okay.
I feel like my first choice for a long time was Columbia, and now it's U of H, so it's a very large difference. So I need to find some kind of filler schools to look into as well.
Well, I think we know somebody over at Columbia that you can probably hang out with.
Yeah,
just in
definitely.
case. Julissa. So last April or May, you got recognized by the mayor as the kind of the youth standout award. I forget what the actual name was, but that's kind of what it was though. So that was our first time doing it, first of all, but what did that mean to you? And what do you think that says about the youth in Caldwell?
Yeah, so I was really surprised to get that award. It was it was a surprise for me. I didn't know anything about it until I was recognized for it. And it was a really big moment for me to kind of realize that people see what I'm doing and that I've made an impact in my community. And it was really special for me to be recognized for that. I feel like it's really easy to kind of downsize what you've done and everything that you're doing because you see these big people out there and you're like, well, I haven't gotten there yet. But I think that was really incredible to be recognized for that. And then for the youth in this community, I being a part of MyAC has made me realize that all the kids in this community really do want to make a difference. And that's just also really inspiring because the people in this community I know are going to go out and do things, specifically the youth. Like, I see their ideas that they have and what they've been doing so far. And that's just, I know that they're going to go out and do something incredible.
Okay. So tell us about the executive committee for the Mayor's Youth. So can you tell us what position did you hold last school year, and because you're the elect coming in to this upcoming school year, can you tell us which positions that you have and what that means to you?
Yeah, so last year I was the secretary for the MyAC, Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, and that was really cool. I felt like I was a lot more included being a part of the exec committee, but then I also not only got to be one of the members of it, members of MyAC, but being a part of the executive committee, I feel like I got to also have more of a voice, and I got to kind of help inspire the other people in MyAC, and that was really cool and special for me. And then this year I'm going to be the vice chair, and that's really exciting. I'm really excited for that. It's a larger position with a little bit more responsibility, but I feel like I'm really ready to take on that responsibility because MyAC has really truly like shaped who I am today, and so I want to make sure that I can help be the person to shape the other kids in MyAC.
Right. So for somebody not familiar with the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, MyAC, can you just kind of give just a general kind of summary of what it is, and maybe talk specifically, I'm curious too, just how it has shaped you.
Yeah. So I feel like when people hear MyAC, they really just think about the community service part of it, and that is a really important part. All the stuff that we do is truly incredible, but I think that for me, it's a space where the youth can feel included, and it's just everyone's included in there. Like, no matter your background, where you've come from, who you are as a person, like, you're always going to be included, and everybody that's in there is really so inclusive. Like, they don't care who you are, where you've been, like, they just truly are glad that you're in MyAC, and they want you to be there. And I feel like the youth in there get to have so many different experiences because of it. Like, we have people that come in who teach you about finance or drugs, and it shows them how they can be included in their community and how they can be aware of these sorts of things, especially when there's speakers that come up and show that they came from basically nothing and that now they've made such a huge difference. I feel like that's so important for the youth because they get to see that it doesn't matter where you've come from, it just matters where you're going. And I feel like everyone in MyAC is gonna go really far.
Yeah. So. My favorite thing about it is the students who are there want to be there. No one's forcing them. Mm-hmm. They come because they want to be there, and they get. My favorite thing is they get surrounded by just really good community, and our group's not perfect, but for the most part, the people that I've seen, a lot of them are just positive people to be around. So.
Yeah, it's a very positive environment, I feel like.
What's your favorite thing about MyAC?
My favorite thing about MyAC, I really like just getting to know the people that are a part of it. I mean, I like doing the community service, and I like the speakers and everything, but my favorite part is getting to connect with those people, because I feel like connections are probably one of the most important thing that you can have, is getting to know people and seeing who they are. And I feel like it really helps you grow as your own person, is seeing other people and how they've grown as well. And everyone's just so positive, and they're really happy to be there, and I feel like those are good people to surround yourself with.
Okay. So I get a lot of people, I mix around with a lot of different groups and people, and I get people who ask me a lot of questions about youth in general. So I might have you just kind of talk a little bit from the Caldwell youth perspective. So first, what would you say to somebody who is wondering what is important to the youth right now in Caldwell?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things, especially I think that it really depends on the youth. Like, the youth in MyAC are really thinking about, there's we need to clean up trash, or we need to do this, and this is how we can help our community. And those are the main problems. And then other people, they may struggle with like low resources, and so the thing that they want to help with is, I want to make sure that we can get food out there, and I want to make sure that these people feel supported and included in their community. And I just feel like the youth in Caldwell are very like future focused and action focused. They want to do something, they see a problem and they want to fix it. And I feel like that's the thing that adults kind of, they don't realize, is that they think, I mean, there are some teenagers that don't do much, but I feel like everyone is kind of born with this like drive to make a change, and the youth in Caldwell really have those resources to make that change, and they have the resources to go out and do that. And so it's really whatever problems that they see, they will do what they can to make a change.
Right. I think from my perspective, observing the students in the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council and a couple other places, it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of students seem to be looking for a place to be accepted, / they're looking for community. And I think that's it. Acceptance, community. And is that kind of what you're seeing too, or is there other components too that they're
I think those are definitely the main ones. I feel like everyone, they want to be accepted, obviously. They want to have somewhere where they can be themselves. And that's the other thing, is that there's so many different places and supports out there in Caldwell. There's so many different clubs and schools and outside of schools where they can be themselves and they can do what they love and what they want.
Okay. I think from my perspective, it seems like there's a group of students in the Caldwell area that they are looking forward to the future. They're looking to go to Hawaii to go to college. They're looking to go and get jobs or education somewhere moving forward. But there's some students here, and there's nothing wrong with staying in Caldwell, but it seems like there's some students who don't really even consider leaving. Like, they feel like Caldwell's it. This is the world as they know it. Anything beyond that is kind of unknown, but you kind of don't know what you don't know sometimes, because from my perspective, sometimes when we take some of the students to the Capitol, there might be a junior or senior that they drive by Wahoo's and in Roaring Springs, and they're like, when did this get here? I didn't know this even existed. But is that kind of what you're seeing too? There's a group that, is going to go for good, better, or indifferent. There's some that go out, and then there's some that are just kind of, this is it. Like, Caldwell is my world. I don't think I'll ever leave. Do you see that too a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely see that. I feel like, just in school, like listening to where people want to go, like there's a lot that just, they want to either travel the world or they want to go out, and then there's definitely a group that kind of just wants to stay within Caldwell because they really don't realize that there's much else. Nothing wrong with Caldwell, definitely. There's a lot of opportunities here. There's a lot of great colleges and universities, but I feel like, yeah, there's definitely that big divide.
Okay. What is something that you wish Caldwell would eventually get that doesn't already exist here? Oh. And it could be a store, or it could be a restaurant, or it could be a resource. It could be anything.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I feel like Caldwell is just growing so much as it is. It's kind of hard to picture what else it could have, because there's just so many things it already does have. But I feel like just more resources, I guess. I'd like to see a lot more like involvement within like low resources, like helping people who don't have the resources to, go somewhere else, who do think that Caldwell is all that there is. Like, I want there to just be more recognition about where else they could go. And
so some opportunities to get out of town.
Yeah.
Like maybe for a day or a couple days. Okay, cool. So is that how you feel about so for the Mayor's Youth, we have different trips. Some students get to go to DC, some students get to go to Silverwood or something. So do you think that is kind of what you're talking about a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like those trips really help, and it doesn't, I feel like sometimes leaving Caldwell can kind of make you feel alone, like you don't know what's out there, and it is scary, like leaving where you've lived for your whole life. But I feel like specifically with MyAct, going out there with a bunch of different people who also don't know about these opportunities and places other than Caldwell, it's really just, it's inclusive, and it makes you feel a lot more supported in being able to go out somewhere else.
Right. I remember not this trip that we just took this year, but last school year when we went up to Silverwood. There was a graduating senior that she was saying, "This is my first time being away from my family," and I was thinking, well, shoot, you're about to leave to go to college. How are you gonna do?
Yeah.
We're gonna wait till then for this to be your first time to go out of your house or to be away from your family. So as a youth, looking forward, you're 16. What would you like future Caldwell to look like? Maybe 5 or 10 years down the line.
Yeah. I think it already has a ton of job opportunities, especially with the plaza, but just kind of expanding upon that, really, just more job opportunities, more like places to kind of hang out. Just like this plaza, I really love the plaza. I feel like now, before it was there, Caldwell was kind of just, it seemed like a dull place to live almost, but with the plaza, it's definitely like that's the new place to go hang out with your friends or just go do anything, something. And I feel like just more things like this, more places that kind of uplift Caldwell, I feel like would definitely be good.
Yeah. Okay, you don't have to guarantee it, but just say, let's fast forward those 5 or 10 years in the future. Just say you go to Hawaii, you get your degree. What would attract you to come, besides your family? What would attract you to come back to live in Caldwell as a youth?
Yeah. I think.
Or what wouldn't?
Yeah.
What would detract you, I guess, from coming back here?
I guess there's just this part of me that kind of, I've been here my whole life. Like, I want to go out and see the world. And so that's just the main thing. Like, I want to see what else is out there. But coming back to Caldwell, I feel like it's just, if it's a really positive community, if there's a lot of things to do, if I have somewhere that I feel like I'm included and have like a spot in this community, then I feel like that would definitely attract me to come back.
Okay. I actually have a question for you. So, Maylee, you talked about the project that you are have been working on. How can somebody out who's listening, or maybe somebody who knows you even, how can somebody get involved and help you guys out? Whether it be, do you guys need money? Do you guys need volunteers? Do you need some kind of, resources, more food, more brown bags to hand out? What could help you guys out with your project?
Yeah, so this year we're really focusing on sustainability. So instead of handing out the snack bags again, we're trying to create an athlete food pantry. So not just for the track athletes, but for all of the athletes, since there's been some complications and we can't really go to the institute again this year, which means we can't get that grant money, and we're not applying for that grant money this year either. So we'd really we're trying to create or find someone who would be willing to be a fiscal sponsor in case if the school doesn't or can't kind of handle that money that we get for the pantry. And then we just need people to donate healthy foods to that pantry, and we just feel like we need to get the word out for anybody who's interested in that and would really like to help and kind of sponsor that.
Okay, cool. Now, I guess I don't want to assume, but I want to, as you're talking about the project and helping hand out, snack bags and stuff, you must have seen a need, obviously. So what does that look like, as far as, maybe go back a year or two, what were you seeing? How did this need kind of get on your radar?
Yeah, so what first kind of made us realize that we really need to do this track project and that it would have a huge impact was we realized that our school was 76% low resourced and economically disadvantaged. So that was kind of it kind of changed our perspective on what we wanted our project to be about. And after that, we realized that the athletes would be at even more of a disadvantage, because if they aren't getting that resources like the nutrition and fuel, then it's going to be really hard for them to compete. And so from that, we decided to create a survey to see how many of these people, of the athletes, wouldn't have had the access to these resources that we provided them with if we didn't do this project. And I think this past year it was 66% of them. So a majority of the athletes wouldn't have had that access. And that's just that, I feel like that kind of really put it into perspective of how important this project was to them. And that's really why we're focusing on sustainability now, because we don't want to just do this for 2 years and then have it completely gone after that. And then we also just heard a lot of the athletes talking about how they really benefited from this project. Even the ones that weren't low-resourced, it's still really important for them to learn that nutrition and hydration are really important for practices, and that they have peers at their community that want to help them and provide this stuff for them.
And to provide a little bit of context for some people who might not be as familiar, it sounded like, I think there's a percentage of students who, I think a lot of them get a free or reduced lunch, right? Mm-hmm. During the school year, during the school day. And that might be their only meal they get for the day, right? And for an athlete, or even if they aren't an athlete, for somebody, especially an athlete, to go to school, that's their one meal they get for that day. That's the only fuel they get. And then they leave, school, they go to practices or games or meets or whatever, and they don't have any extra fuel, right? Besides these snack bags. So that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Like why it's so important for them to have this kind of opportunity, right? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that's completely correct. And I know, especially for like people struggling with food disorders and stuff, that's also something that we really wanted to focus on, because without that food and that fuel, it's just really hard to get through those practices and those meets, because they're really long, and especially when it's getting hotter out, it just drains you completely. And so we really wanted to provide these and show the athletes that these were going to help them. And I feel like if someone was struggling with something and seeing other people eating this food and seeing like how much it really impacted their performance, I feel like it was kind of a supportive thing, so they could realize, oh, maybe this is good for me. Maybe I should be eating this stuff and taking advantage of these resources that they're providing me with.
Right. So let me ask you this, as far as you telling the youth, right? So what would you say to a youth who feels like they need more support in a certain area? Like where would you how would you recommend they get or find resources?
Yeah, so I feel like just finding like a trusted adult that you can, like, that might help you either find these resources or be a resource in itself. I feel that school counselors always have great resources and opportunities that you can go to. Mike especially is just a really great place to come to, and just finding that one person that can connect you to other things and be a support for you, I feel like is the most important thing, having an adult that trusts you and supports you.
Yeah, good. Our producer brought up a good question. I think this is similar to what we talked about earlier, but maybe it's not a business or a store or a restaurant, but if you had a magic wand and we said, okay, you can have whatever you want, but it has to be just one thing in Caldwell, what would that be?
Okay. I was thinking about this. I think that it would be like, I feel like I'd like a tutoring center in Caldwell, like somewhere that students can come to and it's free, and then there's just people there that can help them with schoolwork or other things that they're interested in, and then just having that person that can help them. I know our school does after-school tutoring, but there's only a limited amount of teachers who are willing to do that and put in that work. So I feel like that would be just something really helpful for the students. And if it's just even like a study place where they can go to, I feel like that would make studying feel a little less intimidating if there's this place that all their friends go to and it's kind of just like a nice place where they can go to hang out, study, and then also get that help from tutors if they need it.
Okay. So theoretically speaking, if it doesn't already exist, say if our public library had this service like that, do you think as long as the word got out and people knew to go there, do you think students would be interested in that?
Yeah, definitely, especially if you get the word out about it, and yeah, I think that'd be a great opportunity.
Okay. I think what I hear you almost kind of saying too is I've seen the perspective of a lot of it looks like to me that a lot of students and kids almost take care of themselves, like a big percentage of them, or a bigger percentage than we're willing, or than we realize, where they might go home and maybe their parents aren't bad parents, they're both just working or something, or sometimes circumstances happen where one or both of the parents are not active, in their life, in the student's life. So that leaves a lot of students coming home to empty homes. Maybe they come home to people there, and maybe it's worse off that there's people there for them. It would have been better off if they did come home alone. But is that kind of what you're kind of saying, as far as maybe they just need some help on their homework and there's nobody around, or maybe they just don't have Wi-Fi at their house or something to get some of their stuff done? Is that kind of what you're...
Yeah, definitely. And then also, like, for students whose parents are Spanish speaking or just other languages, it's really hard for them to help on homework because they don't understand it. And so if there's a tutor that can help those students with it, I feel like it'd be really great for them. I know that I'm fortunate enough to have parents that are willing to help me with my homework, but then I'll talk to that with some of my friends and they don't have that resource or opportunity for that. And so I feel like having somewhere where they can go and have that support would be really beneficial.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, at the library now. A few of them actually listen to this, so it might be good for them to hear that. Okay. Was there anything else that you thought was worth just kind of mentioning or plugging, or I don't know, what do you think?
Not really. I think I feel like the youth are a lot more willing to help in their community and make a difference given the opportunity to do so. And some of the adults, they'll say that they want to help the youth, but then they never actually do something for that, or they'll say that we really need, the youth should be more involved in their community and we should create youth adult partnerships, but then they don't put in the work to do that either. So just really trusting the youth and knowing that they do want to help and that they're willing to do the work to make a difference is really, I feel like that's one of the most important things that adults can know.
Okay. Follow through.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you just, spending some time with us. You mentioned one thing that kind of came to mind. What was it? Anyways, well, dang. All right. Well, Maylee, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say good luck because I feel like, I guess I'll just say kick butt this year, this school year. And yeah, again, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.